Okay, so picking up from where we left off, I have 3 duplicated monkeys here. So the 3 basic transforms that you can use are grab, size, and rotate. So for grab, you simply hit G. You can move your object around. For rotate, obviously it's R. And if you hold down the Control key, you should get it in increments. Look at the bottom left here. You can see it's going 5 degrees. Now, if you hit R and that doesn't happen, what you need to do is go down here and make sure this is set to increment. If it isn't, if it's anything else, it won't work. So like I said, hold down Control, or you can just do basic rotate. You can also rotate in a panel somewhere, exact degrees, but I'm not a fan of that. I usually do it here. And then the other one is size. Hit S to size. Again, you can hold Control to size in various degrees. Now, you notice when I size, it goes in towards the centerpiece here. But if I switch this over to 3D cursor, watch what happens. So it sizes towards the cursor instead of towards the median point. It's important to make that distinction because sometimes you'll be sizing something. So if I select both these objects, they'll both size towards the cursor. If I switch this back to bounding box, they'll size towards the exact center of these 2 items. Another thing you can do is you can go individual origins. So the origin for this mesh is here, for that one is there, and you'll notice that when I size, they size towards each of their own individual origins as opposed to the center. You can switch between 3D cursor and bounding box with the comma and period keys if you want to do it quick. Now I disabled these 3D manipulators. This button right here turns them on. You can use those to size. You can select this one to move, and this one does the rotate. I'm not even sure what this one, oh, that one's size. I leave those off. I don't like them at all. You can use them if you like, but I like to have more control over what I'm doing, and I find they just get in the way and annoy me. So they're there if you want to play with them. They're on by default actually, but I leave them off. Alright, so I talked about rotating or sizing towards the median point. But what if you want to change the median point to someplace different? Well, we can go back to our snap menu for that. I'll select this vertices, I'll hit Shift S, and I'll snap my cursor to the selected. I'll hit Tab to get out of edit mode. And then what you do is you hit Ctrl Shift Alt C, and that'll allow you to set the origin. And for this one, I'll set it to the 3D cursor. So now the origin for this mesh is now at this 3D cursor. Now you notice it's rotating funny. Just hit period when that happens to zoom into your object. Sometimes you'll be rotating and things will just look really strange and kind of be out of whack. I always just hit period to focus back in on the model. Anyway, now that the origin is here, when I do a rotate, it's now rotating around this origin. Wherever you put the origin, that will rotate around it. So this can come in handy if you want to pick a spot on the ear or a spot somewhere if you want to particularly decide where the origin is. But oftentimes when you create something like, for example, say I create a cube here, or a cube, I'll do a cube, and I move it, and then I'll go to face mode here, and I'll extrude, grab this and go along the z-axis. Now the origin is not at the center of the cube anymore, and if I wanted it there, wanted it directly in the center, I would need a way to do that. And of course the way to do that is to select the whole mesh, hit the snap menu and say snap cursor to selected. Now the cursor is at the direct center of this object. Then I hit Ctrl Alt Shift C, origin to 3D cursor, and now the origin is at the exact center of the mesh again. Now I'm showing you Ctrl Shift Alt C. There's actually a button for it here in the object tools. I just have it memorized, but it's there if you want to do it the hard way. I'll just delete this. So again, if I wanted to make the origin between 2 vertices, for example, again, I would just select them, snap my cursor to the selected, go ahead, hit Tab to go out of edit mode. Here I can just select it here, origin to 3D cursor. Now that origin is exactly where I want it. Why I would want it there, I do not know. But now the other thing that you will want to do when you say grab or size is restrict it to a certain axis. So if I grab, it's all over the place. But what if I want to move it on the X plane only? And you simply select X after you grab, and that'll do it. So here it's just going anywhere. If I hit X, you can see it's constrained to the X axis. If I hit Y, you can see in these windows that it's going along the y-axis. I can show you why. And if I hit Z, it's the same thing along the z-axis. Very important. Use it all the time. You know, if I duplicate an object, I want it to go, and I want it to be directly aligned with the object it was in, up, down, or front to back, then you want to use the XY axis for those things. Same with size. If I hit size, let's select this one. You can see size is all three dimensions. The size works on X, Y, and Z, but if I hit size and say Z, it'll only size along the Z axis. Same with X or Y, as you can see up here with Y. That gives an interesting effect, eh? It's got a bit of flat face in it. This also works in edit mode. So oftentimes I'll have, you know, three vertices that I really want to be level with each other. Well, if I hit size, now they're going to go in on each other. But if I hit size and then I click Z, that forces them to just size along the Z axis, which allows me to line the icons up directly. And you're going to want to look in the corner here where scale is, hold down Control. When it's exactly at 0, then you know that those three vertices are aligned exactly. So you can use a line for all kinds of things to flatten things out. You know, if I wanted to flatten his chin out, again, I could just size it along the Z axis. If I did the X axis or the Y axis, it would give me different results, obviously. I'll be using a lot of that in future videos. You can use X, Y, and Z to resize or grab, whether you're in or out of edit mode. Now, if you wanted equal spacing between all of these monkeys, there's no extremely easy way to do that. I will show a way later in a later video where you can use the magnet tool, which will allow you to actually snap various portions of a model to another model. If I hit Shift D to duplicate and I go along X and hold Control, you can see at the bottom left it's telling me how far I went. So if I went, say, 3 and I hit Shift D again and went along the X axis, I could make sure I went to 3 again. That's one way to do it. Another way you can do it is if you select the monkey and go to the modifiers and select Array. Gives you an array of objects. You can change the count, change the space between. You can even go up or down. There's a lot of things you can do with an array, but if you're happy with what you have and you want to apply it, just click Apply, and now they are basically 3 monkeys, although they're all part of the same mesh. And I'll talk about how to separate those out in a later video. Anyway, that's it for video 4B, and I'll see you in the next video.